Welcome to Eureka Math. I'm Mr. Shankel. I'm going to help you today with Module 4, Lesson 26. Let's get started. All right, today we're going to talk about solving one-step equations, and we're going to do this algebraically. So this is your first chance to solve problems, solve for variables algebraically. So I want to talk about a few things before we get started and give you some rules. I like to think of solving for variables algebraically as learning a new game. You know, when you know the goal and you can learn the rules of the game, then you can play the game. In fact, you can get very good at playing the game. So we can do the same thing with solving for variables algebraically. We just need to know what the goal is and what the rules are, and that will help us to become very good at playing this game. Okay, so let's think of it that way. The goal then is to isolate the variable. I'm just going to write this down, but you might want to write this down on your paper somewhere. I want you to isolate the variable. And that just means get the variable all by itself. Get it alone. I like to think of it as criminals. Cops will put them in a room and they'll be all by themselves, and they put them under the spotlight, right? And they turn the heat up and they make them sweat, and they get them under the spotlight and they ask them questions, and pretty soon they break, right? They give them all the answers that they want. Well, that's what we're going to do to the variable. We're going to get the variable all by itself. We're going to shine a hot light on it, and it's going to tell us what it's equal to. That's what we're trying to do. That's our goal. So if we can get the variable all by itself, it will tell us what it's equal to. So that's the goal. Isolate the variable. Now, here are the rules. There's really just one I want to tell you about, and then some hints as to how to go about doing this, how to go about isolating the variable. But the rule is, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. So let's write that down. Whatever you do to one side, that's a T. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the same to the other side. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. You have to. Okay, so if we add on one side, then we have to add the same thing on the other side. If we divide by 3 on one side, we have to divide by 3 on the other side. Okay, and you can think of it as keeping the equation balanced. Okay, keep the equation balanced. If you put someone on this side of the teeter-totter, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to drop, right? So we'd have to put someone on this side as well. And that way we can balance the teeter-totter. Well, we're going to do the same thing with equations. We're going to balance the equations. So whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. If we add 5 to one side, we have to add 5 to the other side. So that's the rule. And if we follow those rules, that rule, I guess, is just one, and we keep in mind our goal, which is to isolate the variable or get it all by itself, we're going to be able to solve these problems. Now, there are some ways to isolate the variable, and let me show you what those ways are by doing some examples. So let's start with example 1. Here we have b plus 9 equals 15. And you might be able to look at this and say, well, b is 6. You know, I can just look at it and Mr. Shankel, 6 plus 9 is 15, so b has to be 6. And you're right, you probably can. Most of you probably can do that. But eventually these problems are going to get a lot more difficult. So we need a way. You know, if there was only a way to figure this out, no matter how difficult it was, wouldn't it be nice? Well, here it is. Remember, I want to get b all by itself. I want to isolate b. So right now, if I look at this equation, there's something that's messing with b. There's something that's keeping b from being all alone. Can you see what it is? Yeah, isn't it this? Isn't it that plus 9 that's causing a problem? If that plus 9 wasn't there, wouldn't B be isolated? Wouldn't B be all alone by itself in a room under a hot lamp? Yeah, I think it would. So we need to get rid of that plus 9. Before we go any further, let me just tell you where the fulcrum of this equation is. It's the equal sign. The equal sign separates the two sides of the equation. So let me just draw a dashed line here to kind of illustrate that. The equal sign is the middle of the equation. It's like if this was a teeter-totter, this would be the fulcrum, right? It's the center. So we have to balance this. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So here's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Remember, our goal is to get B all by itself. And we've already established that this add 9 is a problem. It's not allowing B to be all by itself. So how can I undo addition? Well, we do the opposite of addition, and that is subtract. Okay? Remember our one rule? Whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. If I subtract 9 on the left side of this equation, I have to subtract 9 on the right side as well. And then let's do this simple math. Positive 9 minus 9. Well, isn't that 0? Or they kind of cancel out. So I get B is equal to, and look, B's about to tell me. B's isolated. It's all by itself. It's under the hot lamp. I'm putting the pressure on it. B's going to spill his guts. He's going to tell me exactly what he is. All I have to do is 15 minus 9, which is 6. So there it is. I've used algebra to solve for a variable. And all I did was I got the variable isolated, and I did that by undoing whatever was happening around it. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So it told me that B is 6. Now, I can check it by just substituting. Whenever I see a B in my original equation, let me get that here. Whenever I see a B in my original equation, I'm going to substitute a 6. So B, which I know is 6, plus 9 equals 15. Let's see, 6 plus 9 is 15. So does 15 equal 15? Yes, it checks. I know I'm right. It's one of the best things about algebra. You can always check your answer and see if you're right. All right, there's number 1. Let's try example B. We want to isolate the variable. So I want to get this C all by itself. There's something that's messing with me having C all by itself, and it's this 8. So this 8 is a problem, and it's a positive 8, isn't it? It's a positive 8. So how do I get rid of a positive 8? Well, I changed to my pen, and I subtract 8. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Remember, the equal sign is your fulcrum. That's where it changes. So 8 minus 8, that's 0, or they cancel out, and I get C all by itself, and it's going to tell me what C is equal to. As soon as I do this subtraction problem, 12 minus 8 is 4. C is 4. Let's check it. 12 equals 8 plus C, which I know is 4. 12 equals 12. Is that true? Yup, I'm right. All right, let's try another one. I'm gonna do this one, but I want you to try it first. E plus 12 equals 20. I want you to use algebra. I know you can look at this and say it's 8, okay? So you're not clever. These are easy problems. I want you to use algebra to find the answer. Okay, go ahead and do that. Pause the video, and I'll come back with the answer. And here it is. Undo the positive 12. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. 12 minus 12 is 0. E equals 8. Is it right? Well, check it. Every time I see an 8, I'm going to put an 8. 8 plus 12 equals 20. 8 plus 12 is 20. So does 20 equal 20? Yes, I'm right. Okay, let's do another one. Try it. Pause the video. I'll come back with the answer. Here we go. I want to isolate the f. I'm going to do that by undoing subtraction. Whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. Negative 10 and a positive 10 cancel out. I'm left with f equals, f's going to tell me exactly what it is. 15 plus 10 is 25. F is 25. Let's check it. Substitute 25 minus 10 equals 15. 25 minus 10 is 15. 15 equals 15. It checks. Are you getting it? Pretty easy, huh? One more. Try it, pause it. I'll come back with the answer. Here we go. Let's see. Isolate G. So I'm going to undo the subtraction by adding. Add. I get negative 8 and positive 8 cancel. G equals, it's about to tell me 9 plus 8 is 17. Is it right? Well, let's find out. Substitute. 17 minus 8 equals 9. 17 minus 8 is 9. So 9 equals 9? Yes, it checks. That's it. Isn't that great? It's an easier way. I told you we were going to show you. Once you learn the rules of the game, it's going to be an easy thing for you. I hope you liked it. That's lesson 26. Solving one-step equations with algebra. I'll see you again next time.